What if one simple piece of paper could change the way you see yourself forever? What if the kind words people think about you are the very words you've never heard? And what if years later, that same piece of paper becomes the most valuable thing someone owns? Stay with me until the end, because this story might change the way you treat people. Starting today. A math teacher in a small town in Minnesota once gave her class an unusual assignment. She asked each student to write down the names of every classmate, and next to each name, write one thing they genuinely liked about that person. At first, the students were unsure. It wasn't a typical assignment. No numbers, no equations, just honesty. But slowly, they began writing. By the end of the class, she collected the papers. That weekend, she carefully went through every single one. On Monday morning, she handed each student a sheet of paper. On it was their name, followed by a list of all the kind things their classmates had said about them. Something incredible happened. You could hear whispers across the room. Wait, this is about me? I didn't know people noticed this. I didn't know anyone thought this about me. They didn't talk about it out loud. But the teacher knew something had shifted. For the first time, many of those kids saw themselves through someone else's kindness. Years passed. Life moved on. And then one day, the teacher received heartbreaking news. One of her former students had been killed while serving in Vietnam. She traveled back to Minnesota for the funeral. Friends, family, and former classmates gathered to say goodbye. After the service, the young man's father approached her quietly. "I want to show you something," he said. From his wallet, he carefully pulled out a worn, folded piece of paper. The edges were soft, the creases deep, as if it had been opened and read hundreds of times. This was in his belongings, the father said. He never went anywhere without it. The teacher unfolded it and instantly recognized it. It was the list. The same list of kind words his classmates had written about him years ago. His mother stepped closer, her voice trembling. He treasured this more than anything. And then something even more remarkable happened. One by one, other former students reached into their wallets, their purses, even old photo albums. They all had their lists. Some carried them every day. Some kept them safe at home. One of them looked around and said quietly, "We all kept them. How could you ever throw something like that away?" You never truly know the impact your words can have on someone. A simple compliment, a kind observation, a moment of recognition. It might seem small to you, but to someone else, it could become something they carry for the rest of their life. So don't wait. Say the kind thing. Write the message. Let people know who they are, while they still have the chance to hear it. Because sometimes the smallest words leave the deepest marks.